Hi, Misfits. This is Kevin.
And this is Kate.
Welcome to Horrorwood.
Boop-a-doop-a-doo.
Bum bum ba doo. Hello, Kate.
Hello, Kevin.
How are you on this wonderful fall day?
My tummy hurts, but I'm being brave.
What's wrong?
Well, I ate a lot of nutrition. I did a blast.
When you say, I'll take that both ways.
Okay, you do that, and let's move on. Because we have a big announcement. If you didn't hear last week's episode, or you haven't been on social media, or you're just living under a rock, Kevin and I are doing our very first live show. It's going to be here in Chicago because that is where we are.
Yeah, of course.
And we are going to start with Chicago. Hopefully, if it goes well, that means we can go to other cities.
Other places.
Like your city.
Ooh.
So for those interested in the details, it's at Venus Cabaret Theater on October 25th, spooky season at 7:30 p.m. It's going to be super fun.
Amazing.
Super haunting.
We've got some great stuff planned for you guys.
We have giveaways. We have a drinking game. We have a lot of fun surprises for you.
Yeah.
So it's a cabaret theater, like I said, which means it's not super big, which means you should probably get your tickets pretty soon because we're hoping that it'll sell out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just hope someone buys a ticket.
I
don't
think
know.
they will. I think they will.
And we got to figure out what we're going to wear. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. We have so much to plan. But if you want to go ahead and get those tickets now, you should go to bit.ly/horrorwood to get those tickets.
Tickets are $28, which is a steal
not
if you
bad.
ask me.
Yeah.
And we hope to see you there.
Yes. Come see our show. No. Today, Kate.
What do you have for us today?
So I'm covering kind of a big story. There's a lot of stuff in this. It's something that I think our listeners and you and I both know very well because we were alive when it happened. It's part of our kind of culture in a way, like our entertainment culture, especially at the time. This person was really big, huge influence. But today we're talking about the tragic passing of 22-year-old singer, model, actress, and icon Aaliyah.
I remember when this happened, shocked.
I was too. I remember seeing it covered on MTV News. I was in my bedroom. I remember where I was, like exactly my bedroom, that house that we lived in Parkersburg. And yeah, it was such a big deal.
I think I want to say I was in high school at the time because I remember I was dating a certain guy that I dated in high school, and I bought this skirt that I called my Aaliyah skirt because she wore a similar one in a music video.
Yeah.
It was like black with a slit up the side.
Yes.
So I called it my Aaliyah skirt because I just found out today.
So I came in and
we're pronouncing it wrong.
We're pronouncing it wrong because a lot of people say Aaliyah. Like Aaliyah.
Like they put the emphasis on the Lee.
Yeah, but I just played Kate a clip of her saying her own name, and the emphasis is on like the first few letters, Ali, like Muhammad Ali, Aaliyah.
Jaw dropped on the floor.
If you're going through this episode and be like, they're saying it wrong, we are not.
We have been for years.
But we are correcting it before we put it out into the world.
Here we are.
Here we go. All right, so I'm going to be talking about Aaliyah today, and let's get started.
Yeah.
Aaliyah Dana Houghton was born on January 16th, 1979, to Diane and Michael Houghton in Brooklyn, New York. She was born in New York. She also had an older brother named Rashad. The name Aaliyah originates from Arabic, where it means high or exalted. Aaliyah is the feminine of Ali, a masculine Arabic name that translates to sublime or lofty. In Hebrew, the name carries the meaning of ascended or rising. The name Aaliyah gained significant popularity in the U.S. during the late 20th century due to our girl, and is now closely associated with qualities of elevation and distinction.
Oh.
Aaliyah, the singer, always said that she was very proud of her name.
Oh, I love that.
Aaliyah had been born into a very musical family. When she was 5 years old, the family moved to Detroit,
Okay.
near Pickford on the city's west side. I'm not familiar with Detroit, but I looked at a map. She was on the west side.
Alrighty. My mom was born in Detroit.
Oh, amazing.
But I've literally never been there.
I went to Detroit one time, and I don't even think it was Detroit. We passed through Detroit and went to Auburn Hills, I think it was called, for a Lady Gaga concert.
Oh, nice.
The Monster Ball.
Oh.
Whoa. It was great. I loved it. I drove to Detroit from West Virginia
Clearly.
to see. It's a long drive. Oh, anyway, her father was a warehouse worker and her mother stayed at home to raise the children. But Diane also loved to sing and was a vocalist as well.
Okay.
I don't think professionally, but she had the singing going on, especially in church and places like that. Diane's brother and Aaliyah's uncle was Barry Hankerson, who was a record producer and founder of Black Ground Records. Hankerson was married to famous singer Gladys Knight.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
In October of 1974. But the marriage only lasted about 4 years. We'll get back into Gladys and Barry a little later because both play a pivotal role in Aaliyah's career.
Okay.
So let's lay down a little music history here.
Let's.
Because Detroit was the birthplace of Motown, and her Uncle Barry was a part of that history. It was a music capital in the 50s and 60s.
Yes.
I want to get into this because this is all kind of leading up to Aaliyah's career.
Sure.
It started with Motown Records, which was founded by Berry Gordy on January 12th, 1959, and became a transformative force in American music, particularly during the Civil Rights era. Gordy was a former boxer and automobile... I didn't put automobile mechanic, and he was an automobile, I guess. He was also a car.
Full stop.
No, Gordy was a former boxer and automobile mechanic that also wrote songs. He was a songwriter, too. Operating from a modest Detroit home known as Hitsville, USA, Motown created a distinct Motown sound, characterized by strong melodies, tambourines, hand claps, and infectious rhythms. So Gordy's kind of creating this record company that's also going to become a genre of music.
Yes.
This sound produced countless hits from legendary artists like Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, Diana Ross, and the Supremes, the Jackson 5, Smokey Robinson, Gladys Knight, Martha and the Vandellas, the Temptations, so many more. I could go on and on.
All
icons of that time. Inspired by Detroit's automotive assembly lines, Gordy implemented a similar approach to music production. Songwriters like Holland Dozier Holland, which consisted of 3 people, Eddie Holland, Lamont Dozier, and Brian Holland, and Smokey Robinson, churned out hits for a growing roster of artists, many of whom became household names. So he's like, they can make cars that fast? I'm going to make songs that fast.
Watch me.
Watch me. Boom, Motown. So by the 1960s, Motown was a cultural phenomenon and musical genre, known for songs such as My Girl, Stop, In the Name of Love, and Dancing in the Street, and was a source of pride for Black America.
Yeah.
However, as the 1960s ended, Motown began to change. Key figures like Holland, Dozier Holland left the label, and Gordy shifted focus toward Hollywood, relocating the company to Los Angeles in 1972. Marvin Gaye's What's Going On and Stevie Wonder's 1970s albums marked a final creative surge before Gordy sold the label in 1988. Despite corporate changes, Motown's music remains timeless, continuing to influence generations. It's still popular today.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's Motown. Just a quick little
little 3-minute complete history.
And that's
of a whole genre.
Of a genre of music. So among all of this musical history, Aaliyah also came to know the Winans family. So the Winans were essentially the first family of gospel music.
Yes.
Huge. I mean, the Winanses are all over the place. Marvin Winans was the lead singer of the group and also a pastor where Aaliyah went to church. In a documentary about her life that I watched from ABC News, Pastor Winans said, quote, "When I met Aaliyah, She was just the cutest little girl with
Aw.
all this beautiful hair and pigtails or whatever style she was wearing.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we were working on our record and she came to rehearsal and I was at the piano and she started singing and she could sing and she loved it.
Aw.
Aaliyah is quoted in an interview talking about how she knew this was the right path for her. So she was starting to really get into singing
Yeah.
and really, really love it. From an interview I saw in this documentary I watched, she said, quote, "From the moment I stepped foot on stage, I was like, this is what I want to do. I have to do this. I'm happy doing this. I just remember how much fun I had and how it was just pure bliss."
When you know, you know.
Yeah. And she knew young.
How old was she when that happened?
Like 8 years old.
Oh, wow.
So Aaliyah's family and those around her supported and nurtured her love for music. Everyone was behind her.
Good.
This led to Aaliyah's appearance on the famous TV show Star Search
Oh.
in 1989.
Oh, my God. I used to watch Star Search all the freaking time.
See, I think it ended. The first iteration of it ended in
Okay,
95, and I was a little young to
Yeah.
watch, but I knew what it was.
Yes. Ed McMahon, come on.
Oh, Ed. God, I love him.
You didn't even watch it. I love that you're like, oh, Ed.
Well, no, I saw the new iteration,
I
which
see.
came back in the early 2000s.
Was he on
I
that
think
one?
he was. I don't know. So, Star Search was a television program, for those who might not know, that aired from 1983 to 1995. It showcased contestants in various performance categories, including singing, dancing, comedy, and spokesmodeling.
It's very similar to America's Got Talent.
Absolutely. This was like the first America's Got Talent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this was like all of the reality sort of talent TV shows you see today. They have Star Search to thank.
Yeah.
Each episode featured a champion competing against a challenger, with winners determined by a panel of judges. Contestants needed to win several consecutive shows to advance, and grand champions were crowned at the season's end, earning prizes like $100,000 or contracts in the industry. Notable alumni include Sam Harris, Sawyer Brown, and Tiffany, who went on to have successful careers, but there were other stars who appeared on it all the time.
Wasn't Britney Spears, right?
Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, Christina Aguilera, all
that
were
whole,
on that
what's the word I'm looking for? Group of
people who were coming up as into fame at that time. Because then they went on to be on like Mickey Mouse
Yeah.
Club, and then for Mickey Mouse Club they went to their own
Yeah.
careers. So Aaliyah was up against singer Katrina Wolverton, who was a reigning champion at the time. Aaliyah sang "My Funny Valentine." You can watch
Oh.
this clip. It's really good and it's so cute.
Oh, okay.
Wolverton mentions in the documentary I'm referencing that she thought this was kind of a strange choice for a kid. It wasn't really a popular song or one that like a child would really know, but you have to remember Aaliyah's growing up in this musical family
Yeah.
of Motown history. I mean, her aunt is basically Gladys Knight.
So she's got some musical
She's got some
background.
background. She's picking good songs. Wolverton won and said Aaliyah looked really sad about it, but plastered a smile on her face, congratulated her, and was
Aw.
very professional about the entire thing.
That is the thing when you think about it, like those kind of shows.
Yeah.
Because it's all kids essentially pitting against each other. And it's just like, what are we doing?
It makes me think of in 30 Rock when Jenna's judging America's Kids Got Singing. And like she's being like the Simon Cowell to these kids. And she's like, you should go jump back up your mother. Like,
Oh, shit.
they're all like crying on stage.
Oh, my God.
But America like loves it.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not far from the truth.
Yikes. So it was from this moment that people saw that Aaliyah had nerves of steel and was very confident and professional. Through her familial connections, she learned a lot from Gladys Knight. Gladys asked if Aaliyah would like to come out to Las Vegas, where she was doing 5 shows at Bally's Hotel, which is now known as Horseshoe Las Vegas. And she was like, yes. Get me out there.
Let's do Vegas.
Gladys Knight wants me to go perform in Vegas.
Okay.
100%. And even her mom was like, yes. The whole family was excited.
That's awesome.
Aaliyah said the first night she went out to perform, she walked on stage, stood broom handle straight, sang, didn't move, and then just walked off.
This is probably like Frozen.
The big deal, like big
Yeah.
audience. Gladys went to her and said, no. That's not how we...
This is not the vibe, girl.
That's not how we do this. Gladys talks in an interview about this. She's like, I was like, no, let's figure this out. You have to reel people in. So Gladys gave her some pointers on stage presence and how to captivate an audience and imbue emotion into a song and not to be nervous.
I love when people are like, just don't be nervous.
Drop the nerves.
You'll be fine. Don't
Drop
be nervous.
the nerves.
Because that makes you feel better.
Yeah. That just, I mean, my stomach, I don't have to throw up anymore.
Yeah, totally fine now.
Knight recounts watching Aaliyah on stage and wanting to scream out, "That's my niece."
Oh, I love that her family was like so supportive and behind
Yeah.
her, because even being, the background that they were, a lot of times you just hear like, no, not yet. You're not ready. Like, let's keep you back.
Well, and it gets even, I mean, her family really set her up for success, especially her uncle, who was married to Gladys.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So Aaliyah's school years were filled with music and the arts. When she was in first grade, she starred in her elementary school's production of Annie.
Oh.
She also went to Detroit School of the Arts, a performing arts high school founded by Denise Davis Cotton. Denise recounts Aaliyah's audition for the school in 1993 in a documentary saying, quote, she sang Ave Maria in Latin.
Whoa.
It was breathtaking.
Oh
the
my God.
entire school building stopped. You could hear her voice and her tone resonate throughout the entire school.
Wow. And
Yeah.
that's not an easy song. That's not just like...
No, that's an insane song.
Yeah. Wow. Is there a clip of that, or that was just a school performance?
I couldn't find a clip of it. It was her
Okay.
audition for the school.
Ah.
But Aaliyah wasn't just into the arts. She apparently loved school and learning, especially in math and science.
Oh, good.
She held a 4.0 grade point average all
Okay.
throughout school.
Hey.
And her backup plan, if she didn't make it as a singer-performer, was a music teacher, teaching music history, or even drama.
I love that. I love that she was like, well, if I can't do this, like, I still want to be a part of it.
Yeah,
in a way.
100%. Denise even said she could see Aaliyah going into engineering.
Whoa.
She was a smart cookie.
Sounds like it.
Mm-hmm. So school is going swimmingly.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And then her uncle Barry Hankerson formed his record label called Blackground Records, where he
yeah.
signed Aaliyah when she was 12 years old.
Whoa.
Blackground was essentially established because Hankerson wanted to sign her, and other labels thought she was too young.
Again, like, I love that her family is just like, you know what? You know what you want to do? Let me help you however we can.
Absolutely. Hankerson recounts that he told Aaliyah, "You got your own record label?" And she was like, "What?" I did find out later in my research that she owned 10% of that label.
Nice. That's amazing.
Yeah. Barry had also discovered another artist.
Oh, your face. Your face is making me go, ooh.
Dun, dun, dun. R. Kelly.
Oh. Yikes.
Yikes was my next word. Kate read my notes.
Whoops.
Oh. Barry wanted to pair the two together with R. Kelly acting as a producer and a songwriter for Aaliyah.
Mm.
The two started working together when she was 14 years old.
I don't like that.
It gets bad here.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to talk about it. We are going to cover R. Kelly at some point, or I will, or something. I am going to tell this story because it's kind of a precursor
I see.
that nobody super caught on at
Okay.
the time. But I'll get into it.
Uh-oh.
R. Kelly was a big hit at that time,
Mm-hmm.
with Bump and Grind being a hugely popular hit in R&B music. Lesson number 2 in music genres.
Okay, here we go.
Let's stop for a second and understand R&B.
Okay, this is so like La La Land, where the white guy explains black music.
I don't want it to be that. I wanted to give a historical lesson of what this means, like, because it plays into what Aaliyah did
No, I get it.
in her career and with her music that made her so popular.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not an expert. Can I just say that I'm not an expert? And I hate La La Land.
It's the worst
That movie sucks
It's terrible.
I was so mad that I had to sit there and watch it.
I was mad when they announced it as the winner first. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I was angry. And
I mean,
then
in
they
a
were
way,
like,
it's karma.
yeah, exactly. And then they were like, I mean, whoops, Moonlight. And I was like, yeah.
Oh, thank God. The movie that actually deserved it. Whoosh. So yes, listeners, I'm not trying to be on a high horse. R&B. Or rhythm and blues.
Oh, is that what it stands for?
Yes. It's a genre of popular music that originated in the Black communities in the 1940s. It blends elements of jazz, gospel, blues, and soul, characterized by strong rhythms, emotive vocals, and a focus on themes like love, relationships, and personal struggles. When we talked previously about Motown, which was a record label and a genre, this all sort of falls under the R&B music umbrella.
Gotcha.
That's debated, I will say.
Okay.
But the consensus in my research was that Motown falls under the umbrella of R&B. Then came hip hop in the 1980s, which was a Black-dominated cultural movement.
Mm-hmm.
The musical differences included rapping or speaking lyrics over repetitive beats. Hip hop became a mainstream genre in the 1990s, where you saw the rise of famous artists like Biggie, Tupac, Jay-Z, DMX.
Sure.
The R&B community at the time was like, what do we do? There's this other music genre that's becoming really popular. But then Aaliyah comes in, deciding to blend the two genres,
okay,
R&B and hip hop. There's a great clip of her on stage in Amsterdam singing in 1995, saying she's going to mix the old school with the new school.
Mm.
Aaliyah's music was a mix between R&B and hip-hop with a little bit of an indie sound, is how they described it. No one else was really doing this at the time.
Okay.
So this changed the course of those genres at the time of her coming out.
She was groundbreaking.
She was groundbreaking, absolutely. All of this, along with her work with R. Kelly, led to her first album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, which was released in 1994.
For some reason, in this moment, it just all came flooding back to me, her work with R. Kelly. I do remember this.
Yeah.
At first I was like, what? But now I'm like, oh, right.
Well, and the name of that album.
Right.
Her uncle, Barry Hankerson, was able to get a distribution deal with Jive Records to get the music out there. Aaliyah's first album debuted at 24 on the Billboard 200 and peaked at 18.
Okay.
It was also certified platinum twice.
Wow.
With a few singles charting on the Hot 100, including the debut single Back and Forth, hitting number 5. Pretty strong start.
Yeah.
It's with this album that you can really feel the influence from R. Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in her style and clothing. They had been working together on music in Chicago for a while, which is where he was based.
Mm-hmm.
The two would sometimes wear matching outfits, like when they'd go on talk shows together. And people were like,
what's going on
that's
there?
A little strange. All of this spurred rumors that the two were together and had gotten married.
Ugh.
People were talking.
Yeah.
And Aaliyah said that it's not true, absolutely not true. But a reporter from Vibe magazine called the Cook County Vital Records office looking to see if there was a marriage certificate filed.
Mm-hmm.
And there was.
Okay, so I feel like I remember this.
They got married.
Yeah.
Illegally.
Yeah.
It stated that the two were married on August 31st, 1994 at the Sheraton Gateway Suites in Rosemont, Illinois.
Ugh. Just the fact that it was at a hotel
I know.
makes it even ickier.
Oof.
How old was he at the time?
27.
Okay, and she was 14?
14, yes.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, no, she was 15.
15. Well, still.
The record also stated that Aaliyah was 18 years old and R. Kelly, whose first name is actually Robert, if you don't know what the R stands for, was 27. Aaliyah was not 18. She was 15.
Mm.
This led to a big scandal.
Yeah.
But also, as I said before, look at the title of this album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, and how close they were. Aaliyah's family didn't really know about it. And when they found out, they immediately went and tried to get it annulled.
Yeah.
They did end up getting it annulled in February 1995.
Okay.
So August, September, October, November, December, January, so like 6-7 months afterwards. But the public flipped this on its head and sort of shifted the blame to Aaliyah.
Because that's what people do.
We're in the 90s. It's a terrible time for any woman.
Just the 90s, you say?
All of time. I'm
giving you so much shit today.
I love that I've let me explain feminism and Black culture and music.
It's okay. I'll tell you about the history of Pride later.
Thank you, Kate. That's amazing. This almost ruined Aaliyah's career. because of the perception of R. Kelly as a star hitmaker.
Right.
Like, he was big at the time.
He was huge, yeah.
She was just starting out. So they were like, that's weird. What happened there?
Mm-hmm.
Again, I know we'll cover R. Kelly later, so I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but it was later revealed that R. Kelly married Aaliyah because she told him she might be pregnant.
Oh,
I couldn't find like evidence that she actually was. I think it was like she was like, maybe I am. R. Kelly was afraid of facing consequences if she was for statutory rape, if that got out, and arranged the marriage instead.
Oof.
Yeah, and his tour manager helped Aaliyah forge the necessary documents to prove she was 18.
Wow.
There was also alleged witnesses that said they saw the two allegedly having a sexual relationship.
Who was like, oh, yeah, I did see that man assaulting a child, but I didn't do anything about it.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know.
Gross. Good job, people.
Yeah. Apparently, R. Kelly had Aaliyah and her parents sign NDAs to legally protect him from charges by the family.
Ugh.
In exchange, he gave Aaliyah's family the rights to his first 3 albums to like make money
Wow,
off
so
of.
he bribed her.
Basically, yeah. It was just a bad situation. She eventually cut ties with R. Kelly completely after the whole fiasco.
Mm-hmm.
So, after that horrific shit, let's move forward to 1997. Aaliyah finished school at Detroit School of the Arts with a 4.0 grade point average.
Hey,
yes. And also attended her senior prom. She was like, I'm going to prom.
Yeah.
And
why not?
Yeah, she made school and doing typical teenage high school things a priority.
That's good.
Even after releasing of an album.
Yeah, that's good. And getting married.
Oh, yeah. I can understand, like, I want to return to normalcy and, like, get the mess away.
Well, yeah, and also when you're 14, 15 years old, your brain is not fully developed yet. And so if a man in power who has been recommended to you to help you, and then he slowly grooms you and abuses you over time, as a child, you're not thinking like, oh, maybe this is wrong. You're thinking, oh, well, it must be okay because he says it's okay.
Right. And here's this, I'm doing what I love. He's helping me.
And
I'm working
I
through.
feel like I can trust him.
Yeah,
Like,
I can understand. Absolutely. Aaliyah then went on to work on her sophomore album. She broke away from Jive Records and signed with Atlantic Records for distribution.
Okay.
Still under Blackground. They're just making deals with
Got
other
it.
record companies for distribution.
Yes.
She wanted to get further away from the style and music she created with R. Kelly.
Sure. Then get that out of here.
Get that out. I almost thought of that song, Get That Man Right Out of My Hair.
I mean, that too.
Yeah. Get him out of everywhere.
Yeah. Just get him away.
Get away, beast. I could see her not feeling like herself after you're groomed by an adult man.
Yeah.
Aaliyah wanted to express herself on the next album. This led her to team up with up-and-coming producers Missy Elliott and Timbaland.
Yes.
They were just getting started in the industry at this time.
Oh, wow.
And apparently they were nervous to work with Aaliyah because she had just released her first successful album, and they hadn't done too much yet.
Oh, that's really interesting.
So it's like she's kind of still a kid, but is also very successful.
Yeah.
And they're coming in and are like, oh.
Like, I don't know if can we help her?
Yeah.
I don't know if we've got it.
Like, other people were saying, you know, she was a kid going in to work with these two up-and-coming producers. Like, she could have gotten lost in that as well.
Sure.
But it clicked.
That's awesome.
Baby. Timbaland and Missy both go on to be some of the best producers in the music industry, creating new sounds and beats. Missy, Timbaland, and Aaliyah clicked and just started making hits, just one right after the other in the studio.
That's incredible.
This led to the release of her second album, One in a Million. This album boasted songs like If Your Girl Only Knew, Hot Like Fire, and 4-Page Letter. The entire album peaked at number 18 on the Billboard 200 chart and certified double platinum. This album sold 3 million copies and over 8 million worldwide.
What you have to realize, too, is like this is before iTunes.
Oh,
this
yeah.
is before all of that. So makes it that much more impressive.
It does.
Because it means somebody went out to a store, paid money, bought your CD or whatever,
Like
your
a cassette.
tape, and then went home, put it in their player, played it over and over. You know, it wasn't right at your fingertips like it is today.
You had to go buy music from a store.
Whoa.
Wow.
I mean,
Or listen to the radio.
sure, but I mean, if she's selling 3 million albums or however many you said,
Yeah. She's selling actual
3 million people went to a store
and bought the album.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It's great. Aaliyah was also big in the fashion world. She had a unique sense of style and would work with Black-owned clothing brands to showcase what was being worn in Black culture at the time.
That's awesome.
This led to being a brand ambassador with Tommy Hilfiger, which at the time was very white, very preppy
I was going to
clothing.
say, how is that a Black-owned brand?
It's not. I mean, I'm saying like she was showcasing Black-owned brands, but then Tommy Hilfiger tapped her because he was like, I'm going to pivot my line of preppy white clothes to include something different. And so he was like, Aaliyah, you're going to be a brand ambassador for Tommy Hilfiger, which huge brand.
Of course.
Time, but geared toward a very specific audience of white people.
Yes.
Yeah. So they changed up their style to be more in line with hers.
Okay.
And this was a big deal for fashion in the late 90s. Baggy, sexy, and cool was the style, and it shifted the culture, bringing in more Black and brown artists, models, and ambassadors to fashion.
Oh.
So, yeah, helped change
That's
the
kind of amazing.
fashion landscape through Tommy Hilfiger.
That's kind of wild to think about.
I know, it's crazy. So Aaliyah quickly became a famed singer, model, good student, style icon, trendsetter,
top of the game.
Top of the charts, top of the game. What's going to come after this? What's next? Movies.
Ooh.
Hollywood. That's what I wrote. She landed her first role in Romeo Must Die. The movie stars Jet Li and Aaliyah and is an action/martial arts movie about an ex-cop trying to avenge his brother's murder. The brother had ties with the Chinese mafia in America. Aaliyah's character is the daughter of an American mobster. Think of it as like a modern-day Romeo and Juliet story, feuding families, the whole shebang. Aaliyah did most, if not all, of her stunts.
Wow.
She was excited about it in interviews, and she's like, no, I want to do this.
I get that. Like, especially if it's like your first big, was it her first movie?
Yeah, first movie.
You want to experience all of it. You want to be
Yeah, she wanted to be
it.
totally in it.
Yeah.
And she was. The movie was directed by Andrei Bartkowiak. Excuse me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. It is a bunch of consonants smashed together.
Okay.
And written by Mitchell Kapner, Eric Burnt, and John Jarrell. It was released on March 24th, 2000 and grossed $18.6 million in the first weekend. The movie was met with mixed reviews, saying that the performances were good, but the chemistry between Aaliyah and Jet Li was a little off. I do remember seeing it. I saw it in theaters and enjoyed it as an action movie.
Oh, wow. I don't think I saw it in theaters, but I think I saw it. I probably did. I don't remember anything.
I was 13. I was so into MTV, Kate. Anything MTV told me to go see or do, I did.
You were like, okay, yes.
I did. I had Teen People magazine in my room. I had those composition notebooks, the black and white ones, and I had my gel pens, and I would sit in my mom and dad's room watching MTV TRL, and I kept track every day of the top 10 music videos.
I feel like you told me
I've said this many times.
Wow.
MTV shaped my young teen years. I was like, I gotta go to the movies.
It made you who you are today.
Oh, well, that's debatable and needs to be talked about with a psychiatrist, but big part of my life. I wanted G-Shock watches. I wanted Bonnie Bell. Kate.
I didn't understand any of the words that he just mentioned.
To be young again. No, again. Sorry. Anyway, that being said, Aaliyah, not what I just said, but her, being in Romeo Must Die.
Yes.
Aaliyah did executive produce the movie's soundtrack and created 4 songs.
Awesome.
Including the major hit Try Again.
Oh my gosh. This is bringing back so many memories because I remember all of these songs.
You can just sit up and try again, try again. Ugh, such a good song. The song went number 1 and earned her Best Female Video and Best Video from a Film at the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards.
Nice.
This beat out Britney's Oops, I Did It Again and Christina's What a Girl Wants.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for Best Female Video.
Yeah.
I saw the video of her winning the award. This is just a random thing. I watched the video of her winning the award. It was presented by Ricky Martin. And he mispronounces her name and says Aaliyah.
I mean, English isn't his first language.
I get it, but, you
want to get the name right.
It feels like an Adela Dazeem situation.
Yeah.
Nobody said anything about it. And I was like, what?
Oh,
Anyway, she also earned a Grammy nomination for Best Female R&B Vocalist for that song. It was around this time that Aaliyah started dating Damon Dash. Dash is a well-known American entrepreneur and record executive. He co-founded Rockefeller Records in 1994 with Jay-Z and Kareem Burke, helping to launch Jay-Z's music career.
Oh, wow.
He also co-founded the fashion brand Rockaware. With Jay-Z in 1999. Growing up in New York City, Dash worked various jobs to buy sneakers and clothes. That was his MO.
Yeah.
His mother died when he was 15, and that same year he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. As Jay-Z's manager, Dash organized a 1999 tour that earned $19 million.
Wow.
However, their partnership ended in 2004 when Def Jam bought Rockefeller, and Jay-Z later bought out Dash's stake in Rockaware.
Okay.
Dash met Aaliyah in the summer of 2000, introduced through Dash's accountant. Their relationship was heavy at first. Though they were not engaged, Dash has said that they had planned to get married. In a documentary on Aaliyah's life, Dash talks about how hard it was for them to go on projects and not see each other for months at a time. Yeah. He said it was tough being away from his best friend.
Ugh.
Fun fact here, Dash is also the cousin of actress Stacey Dash. Stacey Dash. I don't know why that's so hard to say. Stacey Dash was once known for her role as Dion in Clueless. She killed her career after aligning with conservative politics and becoming a Fox News commentator.
I was going to say, she kind of went.
I mean, she was controversial. She supported Trump, criticized Black History Month, dismissive remarks about Black entertainment outlets. She alienated her entire fan base. Yeah. And after making inflammatory comments about Obama and the transgender community, she was let go by Fox News, blacklisted in Hollywood. And Damon has publicly distanced himself from her. She's canceled.
Got it.
I just had to. I read that and was like, Dash, and then went on a deep dive about Stacey Dash.
Yeah, she really messed that one up.
She really effed the pooch, screwed the pooch. Aaliyah was juggling a lot at one time.
Yeah.
She accepted a role as the Queen Mother of Vampires, Akasha, in the movie Queen of the Damned. She had this relationship with Damon Dash as well, and she was working on her third self-titled studio album. All three things
It's
at
a
one
lot.
time. Yeah, and she's all over the world.
Yeah.
She broke with Atlantic Records prior to her third album and signed with Virgin Records.
Okay.
Keep Virgin in mind because that's going to come up later. There's just a lot going on for her right now, and Queen of the Damned filmed over 6 months in Australia. Let's dive into this movie, which unfortunately would be Aaliyah's last. The Queen of the Damned is based on the novel of the same name by famed author Anne Rice, as the third novel in her series, The Vampire Chronicles. I only read the first two.
I don't think I've read them.
But I love them. The plot of the film is as follows. The vampire Lestat, played by Stuart Townsend, has lost interest in immortality and falls into a long sleep. He is suddenly awakened by the sounds of heavy metal music. He awakens and becomes the lead singer of an undead band, gaining fame, but also revealing the existence of vampires. This attracts the attention of vampire enthusiast Jesse, played by Marguerite Moreau. His music also revives Akasha, the first vampire and queen of the damned, who wants to make Lestat her king. However, upon discovering her plan to dominate humanity with bloodlust, Lestat joins forces with other vampire elites to defeat her.
You guys, I wish you had seen Kevin describe that. Because I just got a show. He was so into it.
I love recapping movies.
You were like feeling it from the inside.
Yes, I felt their pain of being undead.
Oh.
Warner Brothers had the rights to the first 3 Vampire Chronicles movies, Interview with the Vampire, The Vampire Lestat, and Queen of the Damned, for a certain period of time.
Okay.
And we all know Interview with the Vampire came out in 1994, but the studio sat on the other 2 for a very long time. If they didn't make them into movies, the studio would lose the rights, and Anne Rice could sell them to someone else.
Sure.
They hastily hired writers and smashed The Vampire Lestat and Queen of the Damned kind of together for this movie. The movie was directed by Michael Raymer and written by Scott Abbott and Michael Petroni, and a writing credit was also given to Anne Rice because, of course,
Sure.
It's based on her books. The movie didn't do very well upon its release on February 22nd, 2002. It was met with harsh reviews that called it silly, basically. It kind of is a silly movie. I enjoyed it. Anne Rice was apparently okay with it as it was in production. I don't think they were really kind of giving her much as to what they were doing.
They took some liberties,
I think they did take some liberties because she seemed okay with it at first, but then when it came out, she was like, this isn't it.
Yikes.
And she's like, yeah, no.
Okay.
And she tried to distance herself from it pretty quickly.
Okay.
She did something similar with Interview with the Vampire, starring Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, Kirsten Dunst, and Christian Slater. But she actually came to really like that version in that movie. There was worry about the casting of Tom Cruise as Lestat.
Yeah, I remember that.
But once she saw like how he was portraying the character, she was like obsessed, favorite, sold. Go see this movie.
Tom Cruise, blah.
I know Tom Cruise, blah, but that movie, Kate, awoke something in me.
Oh, wow.
There is sexual tension between Louis and Lestat in that movie, and it's very much explored more in the book. Go read the book. Or I think there's a new iteration TV series. I haven't watched it yet. Anyway.
I loved this.
I just did a limp wrister. My flamers will know what I'm talking about. I don't know. Anyway, I will say Aaliyah's performance in Queen of the Damned is really good. I think she played the sultry, sexy, dark vampire character very well and embodied the character's physicality. She gets real physical in this role. Just this, like, the way she moves her arms behind her back. I love it. I saw in an interview that she said she wanted to do this role because it was so far removed from who she was as a person, and she wanted to challenge herself to do something completely different.
I love that.
Yeah. So I'm going to go on a quick offshoot of this movie real quick. It's not going to be a long thing, only a few paragraphs. But Queen of the Damned, the movie, inspired a murder.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe this could be its own episode, but it's too short. There's not enough info out there to do it. So I'm going to tell it real quick right now.
Okay.
So y'all, you're getting a story inside of a story. Alan Menzies, a 23-year-old from Faldhouse, West Lothian, Scotland, murdered his 21-year-old friend Thomas McKendrick by stabbing him 42 times.
Oh, my God.
During the murder trial, Menzies said that he had been told to do it by Aaliyah's character Akasha in Queen of the Damned.
Oh, come on.
She had apparently instructed him to kill so that he could gain immortality.
Oh, all right, dude.
I know. Menzies was obsessed with the movie and had seen it over 100 times. This led him to being dubbed the Vampire Killer.
Gross. You know what? There are several vampire killers, which is interesting.
There's a lot of them out there. During his trial, Menzies attempted to argue that he was suffering from a mental illness when he killed McKendrick. He said that McKendrick made some sort of insulting remark about the movie, and he just lost it.
Oh, my God.
So before he stabbed him those 42 times, he hit him in the head with a hammer 10 times before stabbing him.
Wow.
Then he drank some of McKendrick's blood and ate part of his skull before burying the body in a shallow grave.
All right.
Sorry, that got real dark real fast. Menzies is... I don't like how that sounds is. I didn't mean to say that.
I don't like how that sounds is. I'm going to say it from now on.
I sound like Gollum. You know, like how that sounds is. Anyway, Menzies' defense team, which is what I should have said before, claimed that his psychopathic tendencies were a form of mental illness, but 3 psychiatrists testified that his condition did not warrant a reduction of his conviction to homicide.
There you go.
They're like, no, he wasn't insane.
Yeah.
He snapped in a bad way. He's a bad person. So the court was informed of Menzies' history of violence, including a prior conviction for stabbing a schoolmate at age 14.
Oh, geez.
Upon returning a unanimous guilty verdict, Judge Roderick MacDonald described Menzies as an exceptionally dangerous individual, stating that his crime involved savage and merciless violence.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. Alan Menzies died a year later at Shotts Prison near Glasgow. According to an article in The Guardian from 2004, they didn't release the cause of death. It is believed that Menzies, who was sentenced to a minimum of 18 years, took his own life. That's the story of the vampire killer in Scotland who loved Queen of the Damned.
Whew.
Back to Aaliyah. Things are still going well. Her third album was really a portrait of herself, and it was released on July 17th, 2001. And would go on to hit number 2 and debut there at the Billboard 200 chart. At the same time, she was cast in the second 2 Matrix movies.
Oh, wow.
As the character Z. She even had filmed a few scenes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And in the documentary I watched, where I'll link it in the show notes, you can see some of those scenes that she was...
Oh, interesting.
They weren't included in the movies because of her passing.
Sure.
But they were included on like an extra DVD thing.
Okay.
She had filmed scenes for both of them. Aaliyah had also just filmed the music video for the single Rock the Boat. The Rock the Boat music video was supposed to have beach scenes that were filmed in Miami. But due to scheduling conflicts, production decided to move those scenes to the Caribbean. The video was directed by Hype Williams, and BET was there filming a special of the making of the music video for Rock the Boat. I loved those shows. I know this one was on BET, but like MTV also had making the video.
You have an issue.
Why?
There's a lot of MTV going on over there.
Kate, it was all I watched for years.
That and Gone with the Wind.
This paints me as some weird like
MTV and Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind nerd. Smoking cigarettes out of my lawn.
I was gonna say
transatlantic like wow. Anyway, so Aaliyah was walking the crew through the creation of the shooting of that video. And unfortunately, this would be the last footage of Aaliyah alive. And the footage was from the day of her death.
Oh, that is chilling, actually.
It is. So Aaliyah got to Marsh Harbor Airport on the Abaco Islands of the Bahamas on August 25th, 2001. She saw the tiny little Cessna 402 twin-engine aircraft on the runway and was immediately struck by how small the plane was. She noted that the plane was a lot smaller than the one they had flown in on.
Yeah.
So she finished up at the music shoot and then went to the airport to fly back into Florida. Aaliyah didn't really like to fly. She wasn't a big flyer. Like, she didn't really like it that much. And the size of that aircraft scared her.
Sure.
She didn't want to get on the plane at first. She even texted her boyfriend Damon that it made her nervous. And he told her, well, then don't get on it.
Yeah.
But the Rock the Boat shoot in the Bahamas was supposed to be a quick one, in and out. She was originally supposed to fly out the next day on August 26th, but moved it up. She had other projects going on. She needed to get back. So she boarded the plane. Around 6:30 p.m. that evening, Aaliyah, her team, and some Virgin Records employees got on the plane to fly into Opelika, I hope I'm saying that right, Opelika Airport in Florida.
Okay.
There were 8 people on board, 9 including the pilot. The pilot's name was Luis Morales, a pilot hired by Blackhawk International Airways, a small charter company that was run by a man named Gilbert Chaikin. The plane itself was owned by a company called Skystream. This is going to get kind of convoluted, so stop me if it's confusing, because I had to like reconcile who was who and what was what. Jesus. So 2 things right off the bat. Chaikin had a prior criminal record for fraud with another charter service.
Great.
And Blackhawk was not the original charter service the production team, Instinct Productions, was supposed to use. They had used a company called Pro Freight Cargo Service, which was used to send the video equipment to the Bahamas from Florida for the shoot.
I feel like when that many things change, it's
It's
bad
a lot
omen.
going on.
Yeah.
So the travel for cargo and charter was coordinated by Atlantic Flight Group, a flight broker company based in Miami. Corporate convolution is what I wrote. So Atlantic Flight Group were the ones hiring other charter services for Instinct Productions.
Okay.
To get their stuff there, to get them
Sure.
there. With the first shipment of equipment to the Bahamas, there were major issues. There was way too much equipment. And Pro Freight Cargo, the ones that got them there, were like, no. Atlantic and the production crew were like, come on, just take it. And they're like, absolutely not. It's too much. It's too heavy.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, we're not going to turn a blind eye and overload flights. Harold Fournier, an exec from Atlantic, was there, along with people from Instinct Productions, trying to get all of the equipment where it needed to go. Atlantic and Instinct finally decided to do it by the book. But
that was nice.
Right. But they couldn't get any of their customs paperwork right. So there was a 2-hour delay, and the shipment got delayed even further. It was a hot mess. And Pro Freight, the company which was chartered taking them there, was like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Nobody knows what's going on here. These are like companies that we're working with. And one of the guys at Pro Freight was like, this is how people get killed.
They actually said that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's eerie.
Isn't that eerie? Messy. So on the fateful flight back, Atlantic decided to call Black Hawk Airways to charter the flights back to Miami.
Is it because they didn't want to deal with ProFlight anymore?
Most likely because it was the cheaper option.
Usually not the way to go, folks.
No. Instinct Productions did not know this airline either because that's not what they had been using previously.
Yeah.
Black Hawk only had one tiny little 2-engine plane.
Wow.
Pro Freight and Sky Limo, which were nearby, had much bigger planes to use.
Yeah.
What's insane is that Black Hawk and Skystream, which is the owner of the plane,
Okay.
did not have a legal right to operate a charter service in the Bahamas.
Too much illegal stuff, too much, under the table things. Yeah.
It's messy.
Not a good sign.
No.
Not what you want when you're about to be up thousands of feet in the air.
Right. So regarding the pilot, Luis Morales, he was a recent hire by Black Hawk and was not certified to pilot that plane.
What is happening?
Everything that could go wrong is going wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, this is all unbeknownst to Aaliyah and the whole crew,
and
I'm
Instinct
sure.
Productions. I don't really even think, we'll get into it a little bit more, but I'm not sure that the people going on that trip knew all of this at that time.
It
sure
came
out
didn't.
later.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a big violation of federal regulations on Luis Morales' part.
Yeah.
He did have a pilot's license that he obtained in February 2000, but he had been fudging his log hours.
Great.
And this was his first trip for Black Hawk.
Okay.
And he had a history of recent job issues, including dismissal from Golden Airlines for absenteeism and rejection by Tropic Air for lack of experience.
What the fuck is this guy doing? He sounds like he doesn't even want to fly planes.
I don't know. Just 12 days before the crash, Morales pleaded no contest to a cocaine possession charge and had also been charged with theft from an aircraft company, receiving a 3-year probation sentence for both offenses.
There it is.
Okay. Aaliyah's team had way too much equipment than could go get on this, and luggage that could be on this plane.
I mean, it was too much for the first flight, and the first flight was bigger.
Right. And to Luis Morales' credit, he did realize that the plane was going to be way overloaded. But a heated argument broke out between him and some of the passengers, like the Virgin team and Aaliyah's team. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough to stop him from taking off that day.
Oof.
So I will say he did try to say something, but he didn't stop it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So with everyone and their luggage and equipment loaded on the plane, it taxied and took off at 6:45 p.m. 700 pounds overweight.
Wow.
The plane went into the air, got about 40 or 50 feet off the ground and about 200 feet from the runway, banked to the left, and plummeted into a field in less than a minute. A bystander on the ground said that it fell at frightening speed, hit the ground hard, and fire broke out. The plane was shattered, and some seats had been ejected from the plane into the surrounding field along with scattered luggage and equipment. Another witness stated that it didn't look like anyone could have survived the crash. It was an awful sight, with some of the bodies badly disfigured. 2 people were still alive and screaming for help.
Oh my God.
Horribly burned all over.
Oh.
These were Scott Gallen and Anthony Dodd. Both later died in the hospital.
Oh.
Aaliyah perished in the crash, along with Scott Gallen, 41, her bodyguard, Keith Wallace, 49, of Los Angeles, Douglas Kratz, 28, of Hollywood, who was a representative of Virgin Records, hairstylist Eric Foreman, 29, of Hollywood, Gina Smith, 29, of New Jersey, another Virgin Records representative, Christopher Maldonado, 32, of New York, who was a makeup artist, and Anthony Dodd, 34, of Los Angeles, another hairstylist.
They're all so young.
Yeah. And of course, the pilot, Luis Morales, died as well.
And I'm sorry, how old was Aaliyah?
Aaliyah was 22. So it was later found that Luis had both cocaine and alcohol in his system at the time. I found several articles of his family saying that he was trustful and competent and careful, but unfortunately it just doesn't seem like it in this
Yeah, I would, with his record?
No. I mean, I could understand coming to bat for your loved one, but I think he messed up pretty badly.
Yeah.
After the crash, pathologists I stuttered there. After the crash, pathologists determined that Aaliyah died from severe burns and a blow to the head. The coroner found that she also suffered from a weak heart and went into shock. Even if she had survived, recovery would have been near impossible for something like that, especially with her heart and the severity of the shock that she went through. He said it was unlikely that she would have made a recovery.
Yeah.
So this led to several lawsuits.
I'm sure.
I can't dive into all of them because it's too much. I'm just going to summarize.
Yeah.
Anthony Dodd's family, Scott Gallen's family, Eric Foreman's family, and Aaliyah's parents all filed lawsuits against Virgin Records, Blackhawk International Airways, and Skystream, who owned the plane, along with several other companies involved, including Atlantic and the production company. They were all basically negligence and wrongful death suits.
Yeah.
Alleging that the companies put money over safety.
They did.
Yeah. Aaliyah's parents reached an undisclosed settlement with Blackhawk International, Skystream Inc., Gilbert Chaikin, and Atlantic Flight Group. So they settled. I don't know how much. I couldn't find the outcome of the other lawsuits. I'm assuming since the parents got a settlement, it sounds like the companies probably would have settled those other suits as well. But that's alleged. That's my opinion. That's not fact. Oh, so there's another awful thing. Something awful regarding the funeral home in the Bahamas that prepared the bodies happened as well. Butler's Funeral Homes and Crematorium accused Virgin Records of failing to pay a $68,000 bill for preparing and transporting the bodies of Aaliyah and the 8 others after the crash, because they had to get them back to the United States. And Loretta Turner, who was the funeral home director, stated that Virgin executives Ken and Nancy Berry had verbally agreed to cover the expense due to Aaliyah's high profile, but left the company without fulfilling the payment.
Wow.
Despite attempts to resolve the issue, Virgin Records denied responsibility.
That is so shitty.
Citing the Berries' departure. Turner also reached out to the U.S. Embassy and Aaliyah's family lawyer, Robert Sprague. Sprague told Turner that Virgin also owed the family money for funeral costs.
Yeah.
Yikes. So I tried to find out if this got settled. I couldn't find anything. These articles are from 2002. Aaliyah's private funeral mass was held on October 31st, 2001 at the Church of St. Ignatius Loyola in Manhattan. Following a procession from the Frank E. Campbell Funeral Chapel. Her body was placed in a silver-plated copper casket, carried through the streets in a glass hearse drawn by horses. Around 800 mourners attended, including Missy Elliott, Timbaland, Gladys Knight, Lil' Kim, and Sean Combs. During the service, Aaliyah's brother Rashad gave an emotional eulogy, sharing how she gave him strength and asking mourners to remember the other victims of the crash. After the ceremony, 22 white doves were released to represent each year of her life. And as her family departed, they sang Aaliyah's song, One in a Million.
Oh.
I know. I'm going to cry. Her boyfriend Damon went on to marry fashion designer Rachel Roy, with whom he had 2 daughters. However, the couple divorced in 2009. He also has 2 sons, Dame Boogie Dash from a previous relationship, and Lucky, born in 2004. In 2020, he and his fiancée Raquel Horn had a son, Dusko. And he says in the documentary I watched, you know, he's never really fully gotten over losing her.
Yeah.
Neither of her parents. Like,
you don't
get over
that.
No. So let's get into one last yucky battle that has happened after her death. For years, there's been a long, messy battle between Aaliyah's estate and her old record label, Blackground Records, over releasing her music. So with her uncle. Recently in 2021, Blackground announced they'd be putting out her albums again, along with making them available on all major streaming platforms.
Okay.
Aaliyah's estate did not support this decision.
I see.
And they responded on Instagram saying, quote, "Protecting Aaliyah's legacy is and will always be our focus. For 20 years, we battled behind the scenes, enduring shadowy tactics of deception with unauthorized projects targeted to tarnish." They also mentioned that this recent attempt to release her music without transparency or full accounting to the estate pushed them to speak up. They also emphasized that they're focused on forgiveness even as they continue defending her legacy. There's been a lot of things and projects in the past that the family and estate were not happy with.
Okay.
Including a 2014 Lifetime movie called Aaliyah, the Prince of R&B. Zendaya was originally attached to that project, but she dropped out because 2 things. People said she was too light-skinned to play Aaliyah, and it was not going to be, what's the word I'm looking for, kind or nice to do that, and she didn't want to tarnish.
Sure.
I think she would be on the family side here.
Yeah, it
and
sounds
was like
it.
I really respected her as an artist, and I don't want to do her harm.
Yeah.
So she dropped out. The movie did get made, and it did come out on Lifetime, though, against the wishes of the family.
You have to wonder sometimes, like, the people that partake in that, when the family's against it, an A-lister has already dropped out and said, like, this is not right to do, then it's like, who are the people that said, oh, we're going to do it anyway? I know. You know?
Yeah.
You have to wonder about that.
It's gross. Aaliyah's legacy remains strong even decades after her passing. Many famous figures have shared their admiration for her and the impact she left behind. Missy Elliott, who worked closely with Aaliyah, said she still feels the loss deeply, calling Aaliyah her little sister and crediting her with setting trends both musically and in fashion. Beyoncé also expressed how much Aaliyah meant to her, calling her beautiful and one of the sweetest people she had ever met. I read a story where, like, Aaliyah and Destiny's Child, like, met up and they, like, hung out with each other once, which is that's amazing to me. I love that. Her style, grace, and timeless music continue to influence new generations of artists, proving her legacy is truly unforgettable. And that's the story of Aaliyah.
Yeah, I remember that happening, and it was just, like, so shocking.
It was tragic.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody loved her so much. I think because she was so sweet, she was kind, she was true to herself, she knew her path. She was great to work with.
She's crazy talented.
And amazingly talented.
Yeah.
And to just perish like that because a whole bunch of bullshit went on that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And she had that feeling. She had that bad feeling.
Trust your gut. Always trust your gut.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough.
What was your favorite Aaliyah song?
Oh, it's the one from the, it was a movie with Eddie Murphy. Wait, was it or not? It was, I'm sorry, I keep saying, because I really need somebody. Tell me I love somebody. Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah.
I've been watching you with
That's my favorite too.
Yeah.
It's good.
I love that song.
Tell us your favorite song, and you can do that in the comments on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or Spotify. You can do that at
Horrorwood Podcast.
Or send us an email at
horrorwoodpodcast@gmail.com.
And if you are a member of Patreon, or no, if you want to be a member of Patreon, hop on over to
patreon.com/horrorwoodpodcast
and get your tickets for the live show.
bit.ly/horrorwood.
Woo! Till next time.